please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Cheney?
Here.
Trustee Foster?
Here.
Mayor Newhart?
Here.
Trustee Calora?
Here.
Trustee McKnight?
Here. And tonight we have a wonderful event. We have a swearing in. And so, Janine, would you please come forward? And
Good evening, everyone.
good evening.
Good evening. Okay. You can please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Janine Garatano-Wadeson,
I, Janine Garatano-Wadeson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of village justice
of village justice
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. All right.
Congratulations, Judge.
Thank you very much.
Whenever someone signs in that book, I always picture someone opening it up like 50 years,
100 years from
75,
now, yeah.
100 years from now and seeing
Yeah.
the name.
Well, we have a lot of these books upstairs, the decisions that were docketed, so, you know, yeah, a lot of the old judges up there. Lots of interesting things to look at, Judge Myro, and yeah, even before that, so.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
All right.
Janine.
Thank
Congratulations.
Like
Congratulations.
Would you like photos with your
Yeah, I
family?
came with an entourage, so.
That's good.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
We'll take some time and have.
All right, they want to do a quick photo? Sure. Thank you. How are you doing?
Spring, she's working me.
Hi.
For all I always do, that's what she came to.
Exactly. Well, this is my season of driving by, then I slow down all your houses. You're welcome. Checking out the bulbs, because, you know, they always look better than normal, you know.
Is there a better backdrop or?
Yeah.
I guess better than the calendar, right? Yeah.
And all of the boards.
We're gonna take one of the three. Oh, okay.
What? Tom had a great idea. What about the courtroom?
Oh, we
Turn the lights on.
And then you can always charge it.
And then we can go on with our meeting. No, it's just a nice.
I'm trying to take care of people.
This is the most fun we have all night.
Okay, fine. Come on, Barry, get this.
This is out.
It's a slow election year, so. Yeah. Very boring this time. Oh, nice. Thank you. We can do a restaging upstairs later. I have the keys, so.
You just have to remove the plastic chain.
Well, I did, yes.
You know how to do that? You do one with your robe on.
Yes. Now I'm getting carried away.
Here we go. One,
Barry, art directing.
okay, hold on.
I love it.
Oh, that's good. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Very nice.
Thank you.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'll send the one to the, I'll send you the tomorrow. Thank you so much. So now that I figured I'd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That sounds great.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda, tonight, by the way, is our annual reorganization meeting, which is the moment that we make appointments for the coming year. And Raina, would you please read the list?
The appointments for the official year of 2025 are the Village of Warwick. Attorney to the Village Board, J. Benjamin Gailey Esquire, J&G Law. Attorney to the Planning Board, Law Office of Elizabeth Cassidy, PLLC, Elizabeth K. Cassidy, Esquire. Alternate Attorney to the Planning Board, Norton and Torrey, LLP, Ashley N. Torrey, Esquire. Attorney to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Norton and Torrey, LLP, Ashley N. Torrey, Esquire. Labor Relations, Keenan Bean, PC, William Kang. Bond Counsel, Norton Rose Fulbright, US LLP. Village Engineer, Engineering and Surveying Properties, PC. Water System and Facilities Engineer, Barton and LaJudas. Engineer responsible for reservoir resources and dam safety, Tectonic Engineering. Accountant, Michael Venieri. Computer Consultant, TCG Solutions, Kevin Brand. Computer Programmer, Edmonds and Associates, BAS Municity. Website Maintenance, Searchlight Consulting. Court Prosecutor, Remetta and Remetta LLC, Robert Remetta Esquire. Registrar of Vital Statistics, Eileen Astorino. Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics, Carolyn Perda. Consulting Engineer to the Building Department, Martin Rogers Consulting Engineers. Deputy Mayor Barry Cheney, Village Clerk Rena Abramson, Deputy Clerk Jennifer Mancy, Village Treasurer Sadie Andrushak, Deputy Treasurer Denise Holnez, Public Works Supervisor Michael Mosier, Working Leader Jason McCooch, Recreation Director Ron Ancharini, Assessor Deborah Urick, Official Banks Webster Bank, Orange Bank and Trust, Associate Village Justice Peter Barlett, Risk Management Rena Abramson, Emergency Management Michael Mosier, Michael Newhart, 911 Coordinator Kristen Vitaloski, Village Newspaper Warwick Advertiser, Citizens Awareness Panel Jones Chemical, Michael Newhart, Barry Cheney, Michael Mosier, Records Management Officer Raina Abramson, Office Personnel Liaison Raina Abramson, DPW Personnel Liaison Michael Mosier, Village Health Official Dr. Anthony Martini, Safety Officers Michael Mosier, Boris Rodzinski, Thomas McKnight, Summer Concert Coordinators Michael Gervich, Adam Young, Ali Metcalf, Village Historian Ivy Jordan Tulin. For the Planning Board, the Chair and Member Jesse Gallo, Alternate Member Vanessa Holland, Zoning Board of Appeals, Chair and Member John Graney, Architectural and Historic District Review Board, Chair Michael Bertolini, Member Matthew Lupinto, and Shade Tree Commission, Commissioner Lynn Cheney, and Member Sherwood Stevens. Would you like me to continue with the liaison roles as well?
Yes, but I want to add Assistant DPW Supervisor,
Okay.
Michael Finelli.
Okay. All right. The 2025 Village Board Liaison roles, Deputy Mayor Barry Cheney, Public Works Operations, Engineering and Infrastructure Projects, Veterans, Code Enforcement Building Department, Emergency Services, Citizens Awareness Panel Jones Chemical, and alternate to Economic Development, Transportation, and Mobility. Trustee Mary Calora, Office of the Treasurer, Youth, WIDO, Warwick Valley Community Center, Warwick Valley Prevention Coalition, Public Health, Historical Society, Public Interface and Outreach, Senior Citizens, Ethics, Summer Concert Series. Alternate to Parks and Recreation, Environmental, and Veterans. Trustee Thomas McKnight, Planning and Zoning, AHDRB, Orange County Planning, Environmental, Albert Wilson General Library, Town of Warwick Police Department, Technology Oversight and Cybersecurity, Government Efficiency and Policy Development, Safety Committee, and an alternate to Public Works Operation, Code Enforcement and Building Department, and Emergency Services. Trustee Carly Foster, Office of the Clerk, Parks and Recreation, Economic Development and Tourism, Warwick Valley Schools, Shade Tree Commission, Transportation and Mobility. An alternate to Youth, WIDO, Warwick Valley Community Center, Warwick Valley Prevention Coalition, Engineering and Infrastructure Projects, Planning and Zoning, AHDRB, and Orange County Planning, Government Efficiency and Policy Development, and the Summer Concert Series.
Great job.
Thank you.
And may I have a motion to accept the mayor's recommendations?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to accept the minutes of March 17th, 2025 Village Board Meeting and March 28th, 2025 Work Session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And authorization to pay all approved and audited claims in the amount of $292,302.83.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have two public hearings this evening. The first one is a public hearing on a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 83-C for fiscal year 25-26. Would you read the public notice?
Sure. Please take notice that the Village Board of the Village of Warwick will hold a public hearing on the 7th day of April 2025 at 7:30 PM at Village Hall, 77 Main Street, Warwick, New York, 10990, on a proposed local law number 4 of the year 2025 entitled "A Local Law to Override the Tax Levy Limit Established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C." The local law proposes to override the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the village and to allow the village board to adopt a budget for the 2025-26 fiscal year that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law, Section 3C. A copy of the proposed local law is on file in the office of the village clerk and available for inspection by interested persons during village clerk's business hours. And the proposed local law has also been posted on the village's website, www.villageofwarwick.org. The village board will, at the above date, time, and place, hear all persons interested in the subject matter hereof. Persons may appear in person or by agent. All written communications addressed to the board must be received by the board at or prior to the public hearing.
Thank you. So I will explain what this is about. In the event that we were to go beyond the 2% limit of the tax cap, we would have had to create a local law to be able to do it. And so it's a formality, a necessary formality if we were going to pierce the cap, but we are not, so that's a good thing. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So.
It doesn't mean that we won't have to in the future.
No, it
though.
doesn't, but
Yeah.
every year, if you have to, you would have to create this, you'd have to do this motion and create this local law.
Yeah, I just wanted to flag that for members of the public because the impact to our budget each year, just from inflation and the cost of goods, is far more than 2%. And so what that means is every single year, we have an allowable increase of 2%, but the cost of everything is far more than that. So we effectively have less and less money to do the basic services, and so we have to get more and more creative every year.
Yes.
In order to make the budget work without piercing the cap.
Well said.
Just to illustrate a few things on top of that, so if you look at some of the increases over this recent years, health insurance premiums for entire staff, 12.7%, before that 14.9%. Police budget, 11.3%, 5% before that. Workers' comp, 11.7%. Liability insurance, 6.5%, 8.4%. Electric, 4.6%. Gas, 10.9%. So
And these aren't small portions of our budget either.
Right.
no,
Yeah.
it's a large portion of our budget. So Carly, I think you nailed it when you said it's harder and harder to do. 2% cap is just not realistic. We saw the town have a 5% increase. So I give a lot of credit to our treasurer, Sadie, for really paying attention and holding everyone to task and trying to, in this whole board, we had, 7 or 8 different, maybe more,
Work sessions, yeah.
Yeah.
work sessions to talk about this. So it's nothing short of a great, feat this time around to stay within the 2%, but it really does put a strain on everything else in the projects that we want to get after.
Right.
So it's just, I hope that any public who's listening or reading after the fact appreciates that, it's not an easy thing to stay within a 2% cap when everything else around us is just increasing so
Skyrocketing,
much.
yeah.
I think it also speaks to like the sound fiscal management in prior years as well, that because part of the way that we're able to stay below is there are reserves that we can dip into and are able to do that without feeling like we're doing it too much.
Right.
And so in the future, we may need to, in order to make sure that we're not getting below a level that would put the village at risk to deal with an emergency, for example.
And to that point, those emergency reserves are absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Because if something came up and we didn't have those reserves, then what? Right? We have critical services here and we absolutely need to stay on top of it. So, you know, in the future, we'll have to revisit this next year and see where we are in terms of being able to afford capital projects and reserves and see where the increases take us this year.
I want to reiterate what you said. The work that Sadie, Mike Benieri, this board, the department heads, it was months of work. People have no idea. You know, it starts in really January and goes until now, and so it's a bit of nail biting, a bit of finessing and hard work. So I really give everybody a lot of credit. So
And they weren't easy conversations to have either.
no, they were not.
They weren't.
No,
And grants helped, actually.
they did. So do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And number 8, public hearing on the tentative budget of the Village of Warwick for fiscal year 2025-26.
Okay. Please take notice that the public hearing on the tentative budget of the Village of Warwick for the fiscal year beginning June 1st, 2025 will be held on Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. at Village Hall, 77 Main Street, Warwick, New York, at which time and place all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. Copies of the tentative budget will be available for review on the Village's website, www.villageofwarwick.org, beginning March 28, 2025. Hard copies will be made available to the public by mail upon receipt of written request. The compensation proposed to be paid to each member of the Village Board is as follows. Mayor, $61,387.71. Deputy Mayor, $10,743.54. The trustees, $9,060.09 each.
Very good. I'd like to read an overview of the budget for this year. The New York State Comptroller has set the tax cap for 2025-2026 at 2%, with the allowable levy growth being the lesser of the 2% cap or the inflation factor, which is currently 2.99%. The total tax levy for the Village of Warwick includes a general tax of $3.56 million, a water land tax of $476,070, and $428,000 for sewer plant improvements, a total of $4.47 million. The funds from the sewer land tax will be used to repay a 15-year bond borrowed from the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation for a $12 million sewer plant upgrade, with a $3 million grant already secured from EFC. Additionally, water land taxes collected in 2025-2026 will be directed towards the Water Infrastructure Reserve. In terms of projects, the village has earmarked funds for several general fund improvements, including security upgrades at Village Hall, carpet installation at Village Hall, and sidewalk repairs, with $678,000 in grant funding anticipated for projects like ADA sidewalk installation, Safe Streets for All, and records management. The Water Fund will focus on key infrastructure upgrades such as the construction of well number 3, a new sewer line for well number 3, water tank replacements, and water meter replacements with expected grants totaling $2,054,051. The Sewer Fund will also focus on necessary upgrades, including the replacement of office heating and AC units, along with continued improvements to the sewer plant. Water rates will increase this year by 5%, but sewer rates will remain unchanged. So that gives you the big picture of sort of broad strokes. If you are interested, everything is laid out on our website, and I think it's interesting reading. So if anybody would like to address the board, this is the moment.
I just have one question. You
Absolutely.
said that we're not going above the levy
That-
this year.
That's right.
That's a guarantee for the entire year.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Okay. Good.
That's it.
Okay. Board members, any comments?
Yes, a couple of things. One is that in order to achieve the balanced budget that we have, we're going to take $450,000 from the fund balance for the general fund It has about 2.1 million in it. It's about a 20% reduction. And that's part of how we gain our revenue. The other part is that the village receives approximately we're at least budgeting 1.3 million in sales tax revenue. That's a distribution that comes from the collected sales tax that the county gets. And they have an agreement with all the municipalities in the county relative to that distribution. That's been very reliable over the past few years, and it's been strong, except we're starting to see now that it's kind of leveling off.
Yeah.
The first couple months of this year, it's down from last year by about 2%, which isn't too bad, and it's kind of a slow time of the year anyway. So, if there's going to be any growth, it's going to be modest, and I think we've been very conservative about establishing that $1.3 million. And then, relative to the water fund, we're using fund balance about $400,000 to balance out that budget.
Mhm.
So.
Good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
All
Second.
in- Oh, sorry.
That's good.
Second.
Second.
All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Under announcements, Carly, you want to take the first one?
Well, the Village of Easter Egg Hunt will take place on Sunday, April 19th, 2025 at 10 a.m. at Veterans Memorial Park.
Saturday.
Yeah, is there more? Is that what I said?
No, you said Sunday. It's Saturday. It's okay.
I'm trying to find the full
I
announcement.
can hear you scrolling.
Is there a
I
full
know.
Here you go.
announcement?
Here.
It's
Oh.
deep.
Here.
There we
you.
go. That's good. Thanks.
Thanks, Raina.
It does say Saturday. So I'm going to do that again. So the village would like to announce the Easter Egg Hunt on Saturday, April 19th, sponsored by the Village of Warwick Recreation Department and the Warwick Fire Department. This will be held at Veterans Memorial Park. The start time is 10 a.m. sharp, which I can attest to, having been late to that at certain points in the past. There are 3 different age groups, 3 and under, 4 to 6-year-olds, and then 7 to 12-year-olds. You'll also have an opportunity to see the Easter Bunny at the egg hunt. There will be prizes given out for the lucky hunter that finds the golden egg for each age group. And so then for admission, we ask that you please bring a non-perishable food item to support the Warwick Food Pantry.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
And Barry, would you do
Sure.
the second?
Hydrant flushing. The Village of Warwick will be flushing fire hydrants starting on April 21st, 2025 from approximately 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. This will be done every evening until all the fire hydrants are completed. This is done during the evening to cause as little inconvenience as possible for the village residents. The water may be discolored but will clear up and is not harmful. You may also experience minor pressure problems while the fire hydrants are being flushed in your area.
Thank you. We'll move on to correspondence. The first is a letter from village resident Robin Wall regarding the 4-way stop sign at McEwen Street and Wheeler Avenue. That will be good to show our traffic engineer, potentially. And then the second is a letter regarding the proposed amendment to Chapter 36 of the Village Code to allow chickens in the village. And we'll move on to public comments, and it's on agenda items only, so whatever we've been talking about or letters can be talked about, so, or asked. Would anybody like to speak to the board?
I've been living in the village for 32 years now, and I would like to have chickens in the village, also maybe ducks or rabbits. I've been in contact with Cornell Cooperative, and they're giving me a list of information on, tough questions other than the ones that were answered in the Warwick Advertiser, and I'll provide that as soon as I have it. Yeah, I'm just wondering where it's going and where to move forward.
Well, I can report that I've also been in contact with Cornell Cooperative And they're going to be giving us a lot of information, just as you, and we can just see if it's the same. But they also agreed to potentially come down, speak to the board, speak to the public, have a listening session potentially. So that's sort of where we are at this point. We've been getting correspondence, we've been keeping a file, because, people have different viewpoints, so it's our job to go through them, get through them, and understand. So it's not as simple as, just the code saying you can. There's, it's a dense village, and the concerns, have to be met in terms of the public, so that they feel that there is no health issues. So.
In terms of the 1976 law that was passed, is there any information that could be provided on why that happened and any kind of details?
We looked, we could not find something from way back then.
Okay.
So.
We can assume, though, like, some of the arguments that, like animals, or if it was out of control, or I wonder if there were people that were living around.
Did you look in the newspaper archives?
No.
Anyone?
No,
What was it, 1976?
yes.
Do you know what month?
That's a good thought. It's in there. It should be in there. I can look.
Okay, that'd be great.
May I just have your name also for the minutes, please?
It's Raphael Cox.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then I have drafted an ordinance, a draft I shared with the board, that we could, when the time is right, we can do work sessions and integrate feedback from the Cornell Cooperative and.
Flag Day.
Okay. Thank you, Raphael.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to go on, so there is no like definitive timeline then?
No.
Not
It's
at this
just-
moment, yeah.
At the moment, we're just going through some stuff, because we've also expressed an interest in it as well, to see
Okay.
if that was something, even though I know it's a lot of work. But, just curious.
The $600 egg.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming this evening. We
Yeah,
appreciate that.
thanks for
Thank
your
you.
comments as well.
So we'll move on to motions, and Trustee Cheney.
Number one, resolution to fund a capital project, Maple Avenue Pump Station. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick has undertaken and approved a project for the relocation of the Maple Avenue Pump Station, and whereas the estimated cost of said project is $1,126,000, and whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick approves to the said project with ARPA funds to the extent of $207,921.70, with DASNY grant funds to the extent of $250,000, and with Village Infrastructure Reserve Fund to the extent of $668,078.30. Whereas pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 6-C8, the said expenditure of funds from the village's infrastructure reserve fund is subject to permissive referendum. Now therefore is hereby resolved as follows, that the Village of Warwick approves the aforesaid expenditure of funds from said sources on the Maple Avenue Pump Station relocation project. And two, that due to the said expenditures from the village's infrastructure reserve fund, the approval of the said funding of the Maple Avenue Pump Station relocation project is subject to permissive referendum, and therefore this resolution shall not take effect until at least 30 days after its adoption, or until approved by the affirmative vote of a majority of the qualified electors of the village, if within 30 days after its adoption a petition for referendum under Village Law Article 9 is filed with the village clerk. And 3, the village clerk shall publish and post notice of the approval of this resolution within 10 days from the date thereof.
Second?
That's a roll call.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Number 2, resolution to fund Well 3 project. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick has undertaken and approved the project for the establishment of Well 3, and whereas the estimated cost of the said project is $1,295,800, and whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick proposes to pay for the said project with ARPA funds to the extent of $336,048, and with federal funds from the EPA Clean Drinking Water Grant to the extent of $959,752. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved as follows, that the village board approves the aforesaid expenditure of funds from the said sources for establishment of well number 3, and 2, that the village mayor is authorized to sign all documents necessary to carry of the terms hereof.
Second.
I think carry out the terms thereof. I think it should be carry
Yes,
out the
yeah,
terms
yeah.
thereof.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Number 3, motion to grant permission to Village of Warwick employee Andrew D'Alessandro to carry over 5 vacation days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to hire James Quackenbush to the position of seasonal Department of Public Works laborer for up to 40 hours per week for 16 weeks with a start date of May 1st, 2025, per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Michael Moser. Salary will be based on the fiscal year 24-25 and fiscal year 25-26 budget.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, motion to hire Shane Augusta to the position of full-time laborer at the current collective bargaining rate with the condition of obtaining a CDL within 1 year of hire date. Start date to be April 25th, 2025, per the recommendation of DPW Supervisor Michael Moser.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion there, please.
Sure.
So was there a reason given for adding new headcount? Because again, as we talked about, DPW budget is one of the highest.
We lost an employee who went I'm trying
To go to the
DPW.
county.
Yeah, county.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is to backfill an existing position, not add a net new one.
That's correct.
Right.
Thank you.
At a lower rate, too. So. Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 6, motion to allow DPW employees Michael Finelli and Andrew D'Alessandro to attend the Dollars and Cents of Municipal Operations Workshop on April 22nd, 2025 in Middletown, New York. This workshop is part of the Cornell Local Roads Road Master Program. The program allows individuals to build a strong foundation in both technical and management skills. Credits from the course will go towards Road Master certification. Cost of workshop $70 per person, $60 workshop fee, and $10 Road Master enrollment fee. Village vehicle will be used for transportation. Funds are appropriated in budget code A5110.4750.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 7, motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign change order number 1 for the well number 3 water treatment plant general contract with TAM Enterprises, Inc. for additional work performed beyond the scope of their original contract, increasing the contract cost by $7,050.70 as recommended by Pitt & Garrow and Doach Consulting Engineers, PC. Funds are appropriated in budget code F.8330.2350.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
8, motion to approve and authorize the mayor to sign change order number 2 for the well number 3 water treatment plant general contract with TAM Enterprises, Inc. for additional work performed beyond the scope of the original contract, increasing the contract cost by $4,177.95 as recommended by Pitt & Garrow and Doach Consulting Engineers, PC. Funds are appropriated in budget code F8330.2350.
Okay.
Second.
Just discussion?
Yeah,
What
sure.
was the nature of the overage,
Yeah.
please?
So this was new footings. Once they dug down and looked at what they had relative to the basement wall, they had to design a new footing and had to install that footing.
So the footings of the existing plant were not adequate?
Right.
Okay.
And the previous one, they had to go in and expose underground piping so that they knew where the pipes and the valves went, because it wasn't certain, and there were no good as-built plans because of when it was constructed. So, and there's the project is set up with a automatic $100,000 contingency. So this money is coming from that contingency.
Okay.
So it's within the amount of the contract that was approved.
Do you see this as a pattern that TAM tends to find stuff they didn't foresee?
In this case, it's all underground, unknown things. You know, you dig and you don't know what you're going to find, and so it's not unusual to have this. And in lieu of expending it up front for the design, it's probably more cost effective to do it as this comes along. And these are fairly small amounts
Yeah, compared to some of the stuff with
fortunately,
sidewalks and everything.
Yeah.
It seems like every time we're looking at TAM, there's overages, and at what point do we have them start predicting that if you're going underground, you're going to find stuff in an old village?
But that's what
But, you know,
that's what the
somewhere-
contingency is for.
And to place that risk on them, they are going to increase the contract amount because they don't know what that risk is. So it's, and I worked with Pittengarrow and Dosh regarding questioning some of the basis for the costs that they presented, and we're able to reduce it minor amount. I don't, maybe it was $1,000 in one case, but yeah, it's not an automatic thing. We look at the both Pittengarrow and Dosh, and I look at the backup detail, and if there are reasons or ways to get it reduced, we try and do that.
Because I can't claim to understand the mix of art and science in bidding for a contract, but when you see it over and over again, it makes you wonder, are the bids, lower with the anticipation that they're going to charge for unforeseen circumstances? It's a
Can't
hypothetical,
say,
very nice
yeah,
answer, but it's just,
But in this
Seems to be a
case,
pattern.
they're bidding on a specific design and the parameters of that design, and when circumstances within that design change that cause the design to change, the contractor is entitled to compensation for those changes.
Okay, well, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see, we're
Nine.
on 9. Thank you. Motion to reject all bids received on March 31st, 2025 for sodium hypochlorite, liquid chlorine, and sodium bisulfite, 36%, and advertise and receive new bids for sodium hypochlorite, liquid chlorine, and sodium bisulfite, 36%.
Okay.
Second.
Do you want to explain that?
Yes, in the bids, we only received, in the past, we've received either 3 or 2 bids for these 2 items, and this year we only received 1. It would involve a substantial increase in what we're paying, or over what we'd be paying in the new year over what we paid a year ago, and it would equate to probably, for the sodium hypochlorite, given what we used the last year, probably $70,000 in additional costs. We believe that we're going to have multiple bids when we rebid it, so that it should be more competitive. I will say that the bid that we received for both those items was provided by the same bidder a year ago at the same amounts. So my expectation, our expectation would be that the low bid that we receive on a rebid will be in line with what we had as bids for this past year.
well, thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
that's good.
Sorry the extra work, Raina.
No, but it's interesting. The bidding process is very interesting, and we do that because it's part of our policy, purchasing policy. But also, what I find interesting is that you have all these professionals sitting at the table and doing the analysis, and recognizing that this was going to be way above our budget, and there was the opportunity to rebid it, so I was appreciative of that. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 10, motion to authorize the mayor to submit an application to the Orange County Water Authority for the 2025 leak detection program, naming Christopher Bennett as the authorized contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 11, motion to hire Mark Ballantone to the position of seasonal Department of Public Works laborer to perform duties of brush pile attendant at Veterans Memorial Park for the period of April through November 2025 during the designated brush pile operation dates and times. Start date April 12th, end date November 30th, 2025, per recommendation of the DPW Supervisor Michael Moser.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And the brush pile got off to a fantastic
Busy.
start.
I bet it did.
It
I was there.
It was, well, there was apparently on Saturday a lineup of about 15 cars at
Wow.
11:45, 15 minutes before it was supposed to open.
That's amazing.
And Melissa opened the gate and let them in slowly, but I would imagine it took a while for them to clear out. But
I was there
I
too.
made
Nobody
three-
was there.
I made 3 visits on Sunday, so it's important thing that we do for the residents.
And
Number 12, motion to accept the bid from Reiner Pump Systems for the purchase of replacement clear water pumps for the reservoir water filtration plant at a cost of $50,672. The board is accepting other than the lowest bid based on the bidder being a previous provider of pumps to the village, their location being closer to the village, which will improve emergency service response, and the bidder having visited the site prior to the bid to take measurements and check electrical service in support of providing the best pump to meet the facility's needs. Funds are appropriated in budget code F8330-4400 in the FY 2024-25 budget.
Second.
And just discussion, what was the delta, do you know, just roughly?
It's about somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. I can look it up. Should be able to look it up quick.
So previous provider,
The low,
They've been
the
on
low
site
bid, the low,
closer.
yeah, the low bidder was about 1,000 or 2,000 below.
okay, thanks.
The low bidder was 49,644.58, and the one that is being recommended for receiving the award is 50,672. So just a hair over $1,000.
Okay.
Motion, oh wait.
Nope.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
Motion to advertise and receive proposals from qualified transportation planning firms or consultants to assist in the development and implementation of 2 critical transportation safety initiatives, the Townwide Transportation Safety Action Plan and Slow Down Warwick demonstration projects as part of the 2023 Safe Streets for All program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to the Historical Society of the Town of Warwick to use Memorial Park to hold a George Washington Day 5K and fun run on Saturday, July 19th, 2025, with a setup to begin at 7 a.m. and breakdown to be completed by 11 a.m. The event will begin at 8:30 a.m., departing from Memorial Park to Forester Avenue, High Street, South Street, Park Lane, Park Place, Burt Street, McFarland Drive, Hudson Street, Longhouse Road, Ask Street, Bridges Street to White Oak, then exits through Memorial Park back to the finish and starting line per their letter received on March 26, 2025. The request includes use of electricity pavilion bathrooms and Memorial Park parking lots. Use of the concession stand bathrooms has been coordinated with Warwick Little League. The event is in coordination with other organizations that regularly use the park for practices and games such as Warwick Little League, Warwick Wascals, Warwick Football and Cheer, Warwick Adult Kickball League, and Highlander Rugby. The Warwick Police Department, Warwick EMS, Warwick Fire Department, Warwick Grove, and Supervisor Dwyer have been notified and approved of the event. DPW Supervisor Mike Moser approved the event details and traffic parking plan. Completed park permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Abstain.
Motion to grant permission to the Warwick Adult Little League to use the football field in the Daniel Pryall Field in Veteran Memorial Park from May 9th, 2025 through July 18th, 2025 on Friday nights from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. except during the Firemen's Carnival. Request includes use of the field lights at the Daniel Pryall Field and football field. Use of speakers, electricity, and restrooms. Request also includes permission for one food truck or snack trailer to be parked on the pavement in proximity to the Daniel Pryall Field during the allotted games. All game events must be in coordination with the other organizations who regularly use the park for practice and games. Completed park permit, proof of insurance, security deposit, and light fee have been received pending proper insurance requirements from participating food truck or snack trailer.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to the Warwick Valley Gardeners to use Railroad Green on Friday, June 27th, 2025 from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. for a pre-tour ticket sales event, and on Saturday, June 28th, 2025 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. with a rain date of June 29th, 2025 for the annual Countryside Garden Tour event. Request includes the setup of pop-up tents, completed park permit, security deposit, and proof of insurance have been received.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to place 8 no parking meter covers on parking meter numbers 104 to 107 on Railroad Avenue at the corner of Oakland and meter numbers 108 to 111 on Oakland Avenue northbound side from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, June 28th, 2025 with a rain date of Sunday, June 29th, 2025 for the benefit of the Warwick Valley Gardeners Garden Tour ticket sale as per their letter dated March 14th, 2025.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to Warwick Daisy Troop 228 to sell Girl Scout cookies on Railroad Green on Sunday, April 13th, 2025, Saturday, April 26th, 2025, and Sunday, April 27th, 2025 between the hours of 10:45 a.m. and 12:45 p.m. Completed park permit, security deposit, and proof of insurance have been received.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to grant permission to the Woodland Hollow Learning Center to use the Veterans Memorial Park Pavilion for a family picnic on Friday, June 6, 2025 from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Request includes use of restrooms, tables, and chairs and barricades to close the road leading up to the picnic pavilion beginning at 3:30 p.m. Parking for the event will take place in the McFarland parking lot and in the parking lot next to Daniel Pryall Field. Completed park permit, security deposit, and proof of insurance have been received.
Great,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to Park Avenue Elementary to hold a first grade class picnic in Stanley Deming Park on Wednesday, June 4th, 2025 between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. with a rain date of Friday, June 6th, 2025. Completed park permit and proof of insurance have been received.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye. Motion to grant permission to Dantono Dance Academy to hold an end-of-year celebration picnic in Stanley Deming Park on Wednesday, June 25th, 2025 from 4 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. with a rain date of Thursday, June 26, 2025. Request includes use of a portable speaker and use of restrooms. Completed park permit, proof of insurance, and security deposit have been received.
Second.
I do have a question. We rarely allow the public to use Stanley Deming Park. We do it for the schools, but this is, outside of that realm. And the question comes with the public using the park at that time, and whether
They wouldn't be precluded, would they?
that.
Because they can use the pavilion and stuff, but they're not keeping other people from that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's.
I'm just
I
checking.
think we have to make that clear
Yeah.
because the map that they showed includes, it looks like includes the area of the playground that they've got circled.
And they, from speaking to them, because we had this discussion with the mayor, they're happy to be anywhere in the park. So if we wanted them to set up on the other side of the creek, they're not planning to bring, I think, 3 tables just to set up food, but they would basically be bringing their own chairs, picnic tables, things like that. And they understand that they don't have exclusive use of the playground.
Okay.
And that the
That's a-
pavilions would be first come, first served.
Okay.
Right. That's the most important thing, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Okay. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Kalura.
Okay, resolution adopting Village of Warwick Local Law Number 4 of 2025 to permit override of the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3. C. Whereas the village board has before it a proposed local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3C for fiscal year 2025-2026. And whereas following due notice, the village board held a public hearing on the proposed law. Now therefore be it resolved as follows, that the village board does not hereby adopt the proposal law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3C for fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Oh no, okay. That the said local law shall be effective immediately, and that the village clerk is hereby requested and directed to publish, post, and file the same in the office of the Secretary of State in Albany.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and it's roll call.
I just have a question, only because in number 1, Mary, you read it that the village board does not hereby adopt.
I read it wrong?
I think the intent is to read it as is and then vote on the resolution,
Right,
only because the other components conflict.
right.
Oh. Just tell me what to do.
Read number 1 as it is.
Okay. That the village board does hereby adopt the proposed local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3C for fiscal year 2025 and 2026.
Okay.
So discussion, so we don't need to do this because we're not gonna override.
That's
Yeah, we
correct.
just vote
So
nay.
we're
We just
just gonna
vote
vote
nay.
no?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. Trustee Cheney?
No.
Trustee Foster?
No.
Trustee McKnight?
Nope.
Trustee Calora?
No.
Mayor Newhart?
No. No.
No, that doesn't happen often.
Rarely. And number
Okay.
23.
Resolution adopting the 2025-2026 village budget. Whereas a tentative budget, the proposed village budget, for the Village of Warwick was prepared and introduced for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and whereas a public hearing was held on April 7th, 2025, and all interested persons were afforded an opportunity to be heard with respect to the proposed village budget, after which such public hearing was closed. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and board of trustees of the Village of Warwick hereby adopts the proposed village budget of the 2025-2026 fiscal year, including any amendments to such budget as approved by the Board of Trustees, which shall, upon adoption, become the final village budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and be it further resolved that the mayor, the village clerk, and any officer, employee, or consultant, as directed by the mayor, is authorized and directed to take any and all actions that are reasonably necessary, proper, or convenient to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Motion to approve the budget modification request as per the village treasurer's memo received April 2nd, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Tom?
I am way looking for that page.
I know.
There's only 147 pages in this
Page
packet.
I know, really.
It's page 14
Okay,
or 13.
thank you. So we're doing number 25, okay.
Yes.
Resolution 2025 attendance at schools and conferences. Whereas there is to be held during the coming official year, A, NICOM's annual meeting and training school, B, NICOM's fall training school, C, NICOM's public works training school, D, NICOM's winter legislative meeting, E, NICOM's regional training events, F, not NYSBOC building conferences and seminars, G, New York Planning and Federation, and H, Orange County Department of Planning. Whereas attendance by certain municipal officials and employees at one or more of these meetings, conferences, or schools benefits the municipality. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. That the following officers and employees are authorized to attend the following schools. Mayor Newhart, Trustees Cheney, Calora, Foster, and McKnight. NICOM's annual meeting and training school, fall training school, winter legislative meeting, and regional training events. Village Clerk Raina Abramson, Deputy Clerk Jennifer Monty, Village Clerk Sadie Andrzejak, Deputy Treasurer Denise Bulnes, NICOM's Fall Training School and Regional Training Events. DPW Supervisor Mike Moser and Assistant Public Works Supervisor Mike Finelli, NICOM's Public Works Training School, NYSBOC's Building Conference. 4, Building Inspector, Code Enforcement Officer Boris Rosinski and Assistant Building Inspector, Code Enforcement Officer Patricia Petershak, NYSBOC Building Conference, NYSBOC Building Seminars. 5, Village of Warwick Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals. A, New York Planning Federation. B, Orange County Department of Planning. C, NICOM's regional training events related to planning and zoning. And 2, this resolution is effective immediately.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Resolution introducing a proposed local law to repeal and reenact Village Code, Zoning Code, Section 145-152L, regarding the duration of approvals granted by the village's Zoning Board of Appeals. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick has received correspondence from the Village of Warwick Planning Board proposing an amendment to Village Code, Section 145-152L, regarding the duration of approvals granted by the village's Zoning Board of Appeals. And whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick has before it a proposed local law entitled Local Law Amending Village of Warwick Village Code Chapter 145 Zoning to repeal and reenact subsection 145-152L regarding the duration of approvals issued by the Village Zoning Board of Appeals. And whereas in order to consider adoption of the proposed local law, it is necessary to first introduce it, make the necessary referrals, and hold a public hearing upon it. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, that the movement of this resolution does hereby introduce the attached proposed local law. 2, that a public hearing on said local law is hereby set for May 19, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. 3, that the village clerk shall publish and post notice of the public hearing. And 4, that the village clerk shall submit a copy of said local law to the County Planning Department for review pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239M.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes.
Resolution introducing a proposed local law to repeal and reenact subsection 4.1 of Village Code Chapter 69,
I know, we all
adopting
have
a local administrator for flood damage prevention. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick has received correspondence from the Village of Warwick Planning Board proposing an amendment to subsection 4.1 of Village Code Chapter 69 entitled Flood Damage Prevention to change the designation of the local administrator from the Planning Board to the Building Inspector. And whereas the Village Board of the Village of Warwick has before it a proposed local law entitled A Local Law Amending Village of Warwick Village Code Chapter 69 Flood Damage Prevention to repeal and reenact subsection 4.1 entitled Designation of the Local Administrator. And whereas in order to consider adoption of the proposed local law, it is necessary to first introduce it, make the necessary referrals, and hold a public hearing upon it. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, that the movement of this resolution does hereby introduce the attached proposed local law. 2, that a public hearing on said local law is hereby set for May 19, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. 3, that the village clerk shall publish and post notice of the public hearing. And 4, that the village clerk shall submit a copy of said local law to the County Planning Department for review pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239M.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Trustee Cheney?
Yes.
Trustee Foster?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight?
Yes.
Trustee Calora?
Yes.
Mayor Newhart?
Yes. Okay, and that's the end of motions this evening. Final comments from the board.
I just wanted to say
Yep.
that. No, oh, sorry.
Go, go.
I
No,
wasn't
no, no.
even looking. Sorry. I just wanted to say that on Friday I went out with Bill Lindbergh, who has been appointed Clean Streets Warwick chairperson. He took a group out early Friday morning on Route 94, heading towards Florida, the southbound side, and we collected 33 bags of garbage
Wow.
in a 1-mile stretch.
Wow, that's shocking.
And it was done a year ago.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're interested in doing this, you can email Bill Lindbergh at cleanstreetswarwick.org.
That's great.
The LED conversion project is done. We had a closeout meeting on the install last Thursday. There are a few deficiencies that are supposed to get corrected this week, and training will occur this week on the smart controls and the software system that's associated with it. So DPW will become more engaged in the streetlights as we move forward, and that just brings me to the point that I've been echoing, and that is that now if you have a problem with your streetlights, you need to call us at Village Hall, get a hold of DPW, and let them know of any problems. Orange and Rockland is no longer involved and will not engage in any discussions.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yay, we're
Really,
working
really
on this for
amazing.
so long.
All right,
Thank you.
Now what are you gonna do?
don't worry.
Oh,
We got
water
a wastewater
projects
plant,
and-
we got
yeah.
water projects. I'll find something.
The new lights look beautiful, and when you go out at night.
Yeah.
Oh, consistent.
They're less, yeah, they're consistent, they're less glaring as the old sodium vapor lights or whatever we had, but,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're more concentrated
More
in the area
concentrated,
that
yeah.
they are intended to serve. They're at different levels and different lighting based on the intersections and the traffic primarily. The ones that are just along the street are, I think, more subdued. And we expect we will have some latitude as to being able to also control those and, reduce them by, 10% or 20% as appropriate. And if they're shining in a direction that's inappropriate, and that was some of the problems that we had, there are ways we have shields that we can put on, and there are things we can do to improve situations that may be deemed to be untenable by the residents.
Are there motion sensors? Or do we just know where
No,
all the
it's-
traffic is? And
I,
it just-
I believe it's, yeah, I mean, the lights come on dark, daylight.
Yeah. I mean, the areas that are more trafficy, you mentioned that.
They have a different light.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Very good.
I have an update. Do you have an update? You can go first.
Sure. So regarding the NYSERDA grant for the solar array installation on DPW garage, we did have a number of bids. Unfortunately, most of them did not qualify because they did not bid to the specifications. They didn't follow directions. So my recommendation to the board is that we put it back out to bid. That means we have to re-advertise it. We have to go through the whole process again. And this time we're going to be extra explicit that they should follow the directions should they want to bid.
Absolutely.
Have you had any conversations with the bidders who failed to follow the, okay, I mean, it might be good to find out why they didn't follow the instructions and why they didn't give us the information we wanted.
We put a minimum system size, and most of them were far under, and some of them were far over. And it just,
They just
Yeah,
come
it's-
up with what they thought would fit on the roof.
that's correct, but there is, we have a contract with NYSERDA that specifies something, so we have to stick to the contract, and we're getting grant funding. And one thing that is, I think this board is going to need to discuss is we're trying to do this without the village being out of pocket. We will have to front the money and get reimbursed, but we are, in costing this, we are relying on the 30% federal tax credit direct pay. And given the current state of things in this country's administration, I don't think any of us can predict if that's going to still be available. So it could be it could be quite a risk if we were to take on something and not account for that 30% just in case it gets slashed.
How much is the 30%? Like, what is that? What would be the cost to the village? Because we should probably think about the capital cost to the village, and then the energy savings to the
Right,
village.
exactly.
And
do our own
it would
little-
be anywhere between 40 and 120,000, depending on what bid we accept. I predict that even if we did something like that in low end, it would take 1 year to recoup costs. On the higher end, 2 or 3 years to recoup costs. However, if the administration does not cut the 30% federal tax credit, then we are most likely able to get all of it paid for with grant funding.
That's great.
Well, I think we have to move forward.
Yeah.
It's a good project, and.
Great project.
And we'll get the return. If we don't have that 30%, we'll still see a return, so,
But I'd like, that's why I'm bringing this to the board, I want us to go back out to bid.
correct.
Yeah, to get the right, yeah, you have to do it, yeah, that makes sense.
So did you reach out to Jane Samuelson?
I did.
Okay.
We spoke today.
Okay,
And we're putting things in motion to get I asked her to clarify on the bid, whether it's in big bold letters. You know,
yeah.
if we have to repeat ourselves all the directions. So we're a little bit behind, but okay, let's say best case scenario, if we start noticing it next week, we're looking at mid-May to have an opening date of the bids. And by that point, we're already, we have to talk about the bids and approve it, so we're into next fiscal year, starting June 1st,
Right.
so,
That's why we had that motion tonight.
Yeah.
Correct, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have my updates are similar, I suppose, about RFPs and things. So with the Safe Streets for All, we do have our project coordinator pretty much on board now, which is exciting. And we've got intermunicipal agreements with all of the partner municipalities. So we're able to move forward. And I also met with the project coordinator to talk about sort of some of the data that we've been looking at and some of the key areas that we're expecting that we would want to do the demonstration projects, because for us to actually move forward with that portion of the project, we have to go back to FHWA. They're going to do a NEPA review, and then that funding will have to be obligated. So that piece of that grant is still unknown, because it also falls into that space, but we'll know, I think, we should know fairly soon. So I want to expedite that piece of the project, because I don't know how long it'll take us, and but the plan is fully obligated, and that's not at risk or anything. So we're putting out that RFP, and we'll hopefully get the transportation planner on board. Do you know when we think we can get that out? Put the RFP out?
I'm still waiting on the attorney to get back, so we put the motion on to advertise for
And I
today,
did
so.
nudge him today.
Yeah, I feel like he's not gonna have. I don't know what
He
comments he might have.
I don't know. I don't think.
It's just-
It's pretty
Yeah,
straightforward, but
it's just good for
yeah.
him to review
I
it.
imagine we'll get it back
Okay.
tomorrow. Yeah, so we can move it.
And then likewise, the mayor and I met with the village engineer and Mike Moser to talk about the 5 proposals we got on the Patriots Path request for proposals. And so we're still kind of working through that selection process, but that's exciting. And that's a grant-funded project that would result in sort of veterans memorials and the Patriots Path portion of the Veteran Memorial Park Master Plan. And so once we get that, the team on board for that, we will we'll kind of begin convening the Patriots Path Subcommittee. We'll be moving forward with that planning process. And then related to that, there's a lot of fun stuff that's happening in the park right now. And then, this year,
Oh my God.
to implement the Veterans Memorial Park Master Plan, and it's all grant funded.
Yes.
And so the skate park is moving forward, and we're meeting on the pump track this week, and then
Kayak launch.
yep, the kayak launch. And so that's what I wanted to just very briefly talk about. I know we talked about this during budgeting, but there is a $150,000 town grant that the village received for park improvements. And so during budgeting, I had proposed, we had already included $50,000 toward improvements in the budget for the pickleball, for paths, for some stuff for Lewis Woodlands. And then I had also proposed $50,000 would go toward the kayak launches, artist fabricated bike racks throughout the village, and then if funding was still available in that $50,000 bucket, the bird blind and maybe some seating improvements. But then the remaining of that budget, I wanted to put toward design and any necessary engineering of the central area of the Veterans Memorial Park parking lot, where we want to do kind of a pedestrian area redesign. And so we talked about maybe we could do a change order on our final selected landscape architect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, once they're fully
once they're
on board
on
and
board, yeah.
we like them and stuff like that. And then obviously, the village engineer would have to confirm the designs and things like that. But, anyway,
Wow.
Nice.
Very, very
Thank
good.
you.
it's exciting.
It is exciting.
I think it's implementing faster than we thought it would.
Yes,
which
it is. But that's okay.
Which is great, because we
It's a lot of energy.
didn't make any promises that we could get any of it done within
Right.
like any reasonable period of time.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to the DPW and everybody else that's been working on it.
I'm sorry, I do have one more thing to announce. So tomorrow, the Albert Wisner Public Library, their annual tax levy and trustee vote will be held tomorrow, Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the community room on the lower level. All registered voters who reside in the Warwick Valley Central School Districts are eligible to vote, and there's more information on the library website.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the reminder.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments? I have a motion to adjourn.
Wait, what about public comment? Was our
There,
last
there is
public comment?
no.
Oh, okay. Then we do public comment on agenda items and then public comment.
That's
That's
it's like
it.
every other.
Every other,
Yeah, but
It's the
do
second.
you have any other comments?
I heard you mention Lewis Woodland, so I'm just curious. You said something about money going, I'm just curious what we're planning on doing in Lewis Woodland since it's in our backyard.
So path improvements,
Uh-huh.
Cleanup.
some tree work.
Because there's tree work.
Yeah,
back
there's a
Yeah,
lot
there.
of
definitely tree work, and the bridge was washed out,
Yeah,
and so
multiple
that
times.
multiple times we keep dragging it
It was
back.
actually nice, because I saw nobody back.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
That-
That was me being selfish.
So you know,
Yeah.
nothing
The
that.
dogs enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay,
That's it.
Alright, good.
can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. That's great.
That was a good meeting.
That was a good meeting.
I'm just gonna bump that email.
Raina, do you have the vouchers that we approved tonight with you, or are they in the pile?
They're in